I'm Kelly Burke, reporting from the 2015 American Society of Clinical Oncology meeting in Chicago. A big cancer study that's making news here is called SIRFLOX, and its results may change the way doctors treat cancer patients with colorectal cancer that has spread to the liver. Professor Peter Gibbs of the Royal Melbourne Hospital in Australia was one of the principal investigators.
For some time we have treated patients with colorectal liver metastases with a form of internal radiation therapy. Radiolabeled resin microspheres are directly injected into the liver artery, delivering a very high dose of radiation directly to liver tumours. Up until now, however, we've focused on patients that have had lots of previous chemotherapy and only been given SIRT when that treatment has begun to fail. A study looked at what happens when we combine SIRT with our standard first-line combination chemotherapy in patients with metastatic colorectal cancer that had spread to the liver, rather than waiting until it had lots of previous therapies and the therapies were starting to fail. What we found in 530 patients newly diagnosed with inoperable liver metastases is that patients who received SIRFLOX with their chemotherapy went a median of 20.5 months before their disease started to progress again, compared to only 12.6 months for those who only got chemotherapy. That's a major difference of 7.9 months, which translates to a 31% lower risk of disease progression in the liver. I think this is important news for patients with colorectal cancer that has spread to their liver.
SIRFLOX Y90 resin microspheres are implanted in liver tumors by interventional radiologists, like Dr. Fred Maeslein of the University of Maryland Medical Center, the largest U.S. SIRFLOX study site.
The patients are brought to the operating suite where they are given a light conscious sedation to help them feel more comfortable during the procedure. The procedure itself is relatively short. I thread a catheter up through an artery in their leg and then directly into the arteries in the liver that supply the tumors. The SIRFLOX particles themselves have properties that are very similar to that of the blood, which supplies the nutrients and oxygen to these tumors. And so the SIRFLOX particles actually ride into these tumors like tiny Trojan horses carrying a very lethal dose of radiation directly into the tumors themselves. In the SIRFLOX study, patients who received SIRFLOX treatments were 3 times more likely to have a complete response than patients who received only chemotherapy. This is actually very nicely illustrated by the CT scan of a patient's liver 4 years after they received SIRFLOX treatment, demonstrating a durable, lasting, complete response in this patient. The SIRFLOX study demonstrated that patients who received the SIRFLOX treatment had predictable and manageable side effects, such as fatigue and nausea. Importantly, none of these side effects were severe enough to preclude the use of SIRFLOX in addition to first-line chemotherapy for surgically unresectable liver metastases from colorectal cancer.
Longtime cancer survivor Suzanne Lindley was not a part of the study, but for survivors like her, the results of the new study may bring more hope.
My liver tumors were growing out of control, and we had lost all hope. No treatment options available, and it was through a friend who had stage 4 colon cancer that I learned about SIRFLOX. I was able to have the procedure, just had my 10-year anniversary, and I'm thrilled that the SIRFLOX data and information is going to make it possible for patients like me to find this treatment earlier, to hear about it more often, and to receive it sooner.
The SIRFLOX study is just the first of a series of 3 clinical trials whose combined enrollment of more than 1,100 patients is big enough to show a potential overall survival benefit from first-line treatment with chemotherapy and SIRFLOX Y90 resin microspheres. Results are expected in 2017. From ASCO in Chicago, I'm Kelly Burke.